Hello and welcome everyone to our Celebrate Self-Love Day and celebrating yourself and loving yourself even more. This actual day was designated by a woman named Christine Arlo in 2008 because she believed, as Louise Hay does, and we do,
of course,
that the foundation for your life is really loving yourself. When you love yourself, it's easier to love others, but the foundation is loving yourself. So we're thrilled that you're here today. It's been said that 90% of life is showing up. So congratulations on showing up. And we're excited about everything that we have to share with you today about learning to love yourself, or if you're already working on that path, loving yourself more. I am Patricia Crane. I studied with Louise Hay personally, and I was so honored to be able to do that. Long story, it evolved into the training program that we offer. And also with me is this amazing man that I met a number of years ago, who was also studying Louise's work, Rick Nichols.
that is me. And I was studying Louise's work. And that brought me to you eventually after a short period of time working with her materials and with her philosophies. And through a serendipitous cascade of events over a short period of time, I came to meet Patricia, and then that took on its own life form. And when I finished reading Louise's book, I didn't so much read Louise's book as I developed a relationship with it, because the material in that book, you have to allow it to soak in. It's easy to understand. The beauty of it is it's simple. It isn't complicated. You don't have to be a rocket science to understand it. You just be with it and do what she suggests that you do, which I did diligently. And at the end of the book, I thought, what a wonderful woman this must be to have come up with this amazing stuff. I would like to meet her someday. And of course, I had no way of knowing that I would ever meet Louise or how or any of that. But as the universe does things, when you begin to live your life on purpose and understand these things, it will guide you to where you need to be.
Right.
And so sometime shortly after that, and then I'm meeting Patricia, who knew Louise, I found myself dancing with her at the grand opening of Hay House in Carlsbad. So I can promise you, you begin to let go of the past, forgive it, and be who you are. The universe will take you by the hand and guide you towards it. And today we're going to give you some pointers on just how to do that.
And I want to show you my book. This is the original book with You Can Heal Your Life with Louise, and it's held together by a rubber band. Now, of course, I do have a newer book. In fact, I have all of the newer editions, some of them signed by Louise, but I've really used this book myself and also just immersed myself in the philosophy. Also with us is our amazing workshop leader and coach and Chief Operations Officer for Heart Inspired Presentations, Christy Dixon. Christy.
Well, hello, everybody. I have been with the company for almost 15 years now, and I am so excited to be here today and to be talking about how important it is to love yourself in order to change your life. In the time I started this journey 15 years ago, when I started working with the Louise Hay methodology and started applying it to my own life, and it has changed things tremendously. And I'm so excited to talk about that with you all today.
Okay, thank you, Christy. So today what we'd like to do is share with you the 12 ways to love yourself that Louise came up with. And as we do that, we've got a PowerPoint to show you, and there'll also be affirmations going along with each one of the points. Now, we are recording this, and also afterwards, we'll be sending out this information written to you in an email. So you don't need to be concerned about writing it down or remembering it. We're going to provide it all for you. And as we go through this and you listen to each one of these points and also the affirmations, instead of just listening with your ears and your mind, really listen with your heart. Really be willing to take this into yourself, not just make it a mental thing, but bring it into your emotions and into your heart, because that's where the transformation really happens. Okay, so if you're ready, we're going to be starting our PowerPoint. Hold on. Okay. So, how to love yourself with Louise, cherishing the incredible miracle that you are, because you are a miracle. And the first point is to stop criticizing yourself. Now, I know that's an easy thing to say, but really not so easy to do. It's been estimated, I don't know who did this, but that we have 75,000 thoughts a day. So, how many of those do you think are critical? Are you criticizing your appearance, your weight, your where you are in life, or anything else? It's time to just stop. So, I want you to take a deep breath and just make a vow to yourself that you will become more aware of when you're criticizing yourself and stop. And the awareness part is so critical, not for just for this point, but for all of them. And in fact, your life, because we have these automatic thoughts that just go through our mind, and they're the same ones that happen day after day after day. And we're often not even aware of those. So you want to be aware of them so that you can stop them. And the affirmation for this one now, take a deep breath. Just allow yourself to relax. And I'm going to read this twice. I easily choose the thoughts that nourish me. I easily choose the thoughts that nourish me. So notice how that feels. And I love the word easily, because too often my clients would be complaining that things were hard to do and it was difficult to change. Well, of course, if you think that, it's going, or say it, that's what it's going to be, hard. So I easily choose the thoughts that nourish me.
And then we come to the forgiveness. Forgiveness can be difficult for people. The word seems to imply allowing or forgiving wrongdoings and so forth against you. But it's really more about, I prefer the word acceptance, accept what is. And when you do that, you can forgive. You forgive yourself. First of all, Louise had a terrible childhood, and she was horribly abused and raped in a very young age. And that went on through and into her later life. And people tend to get the impression that abuse against them is their fault, that there is something just intrinsically wrong with them. And then when you start going through life, that begins to be reinforced to the point that you begin to believe, we begin to believe that there is something inherently wrong with us. And that is why we're not accepted here and there and so forth. In order to overcome that, we have to start with forgiveness, which is what Louise did when she began to follow the teaching of the Church of Religious Science, which teaches that you're good just the way you are. You're lovable the way you are. So how do you forgive? You have to get down and look at it and say, I forgive the past, and I forgive everyone whom I feel has done me wrong. So we'll look at an affirmation here, and it will give us a hint as to how to get started on that. I am on a journey of healing, and every step forward is a step towards self-love and forgiveness. Let me say this one more time. I am, and those are powerful words. I am. You're declaring your divine right to create with the words I am. So I am on a journey of healing, and every step forward is a step towards self-love and forgiveness. And what Louise learned through her process, she learned to love herself for who she is, not for whatever everybody else said she was and claimed she was, and so forth. Realize that she is a divine daughter of God and worthy of forgiveness and self-love. And that's what brought her to create this amazing set of values and methods for overcoming the past.
All right, guys. The next one is don't scare yourself. And I love the picture of that woman there who's worrying. And when we say that, what we're saying is don't worry so much. Worry is one of those incredibly toxic behaviors that does not serve you. And I'm not saying not to problem solve. We do need to problem solve. There are problems in our lives that we have to figure out and figure out how to go forward with. But I am not kidding. When I stopped worrying, well, I mean, it's not like I never worry, but when I started to work on not worrying, you know, right around 10 to 12 years ago, and I really started to get myself set up with an affirmation for my worries. And I got myself set up with, what I wanted to do instead of worrying. It changed everything for me. So instead of going down that rabbit hole of fear and concern and starting to close in and to the point where you can't move anymore, you've worried yourself into that state of not being able to move. When you stop doing that and you have yourself set up, for me, a lot of times it was money, and I would start worrying about money. And I had an affirmation every time I felt that worry hit my head: there's more than enough. There is more than enough money. And it would just stop the worry. And then, yeah, you'd sit down and do a budget. And yeah, you'd sit down and do whatever it is you need to do to solve the problem. But that toxic behavior of scaring yourself into inaction, that's what starts to change. So here's my affirmation for that. I am confident in my ability to navigate challenges, and I trust in the process of life. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself in whatever your worry is right now. Let that breath out, close your eyes, and say to yourself, I am confident in my ability to navigate challenges, and I trust in the process of life. That is problem solving, and that's very different from worrying and scaring yourself.
Mhm. Absolutely beautiful, Christy. And I'm going to put the next two together. The first one here is be gentle, kind, and patient with yourself because you're in a process. And I know you'll see things on the internet, on YouTube, especially these days, and say, oh, do this and you're instantly changed, or do this and you'll be a millionaire overnight, or whatever it happens to be. But the truth is that, and we all know this, and so do the thousands of students that we have trained as workshop leaders and coaches, and their students as well, that you're in a process. And why is that? Because we have a vast unconscious mind that holds so much. And so we're always becoming more aware of what's in there, uncovering and changing. So be gentle, kind, and patient with yourself as you go through this. And I know I've heard a number of people after they've been on the path for a while and they have seen things change, and then all of a sudden some old pattern shows up. Ooh, oh dear, what is that? I'm not getting anywhere. And it's not true. It's just shown up again so that you can do a deeper level of healing. And I know when I was doing the forgiveness work and working with Louise so intently, there was one person in my past, one of my relatives, who had been my most emotional abuser. And that person kept showing up in my forgiveness work. And I was getting a little annoyed about it, really. When is she going to go away? And finally, Louis said, just be patient with yourself. And so it's so important to do that. Be kind to your mind. You know, we talked about that in the first one on criticism. Be kind to yourself. And when you're criticizing, just take a deep breath and make that change. So be kind to your mind. Know that you're actually creating new synapses in your brain as you're doing these affirmations and making these changes. And that's not just me talking, that's scientific evidence that's showing up for that. So that's pretty exciting because it says we really can change. So when you think about how often you might have had a criticism or, had all these negative thoughts in your mind going down this old train track, you're creating new synapses and new pathways in your brain with these new emotional settings and also with your affirmations. And the more you do that, the more easily your brain will go down that new pathway, and it'll be easier and easier to say your affirmations. So this one is, I choose kindness, patience, and gentleness with myself as I go through the process of change. Again, take a nice deep breath. I choose kindness, patience, and gentleness with myself as I go through the process of change. And so it is.
So,
Oh, it is.
okay. So praise yourself. You're really quite amazing. We tend to think not because of the negative programming that we receive. And it's important to know that the negative program that we receive usually isn't deliberate. People are trying to protect us, just like your ego is trying to protect you by telling you you can't do this, you can't do that, and so forth, just to keep you from failing. But you are quite amazing. When we'll get down to mirror work in a little bit, you begin to see how you can look at yourself in a mirror, look deeply into your own eyes, and see the beauty that you are and the wonder that you are. If you look past your assumed warts and blemishes and whatever you may see, or your hair is all entangled, praise yourself. So you will look into the mirror and tell yourself what a wonderful person you are, how brilliant you are. You're great. The bottom line. So here's an affirmation to work with. I choose to recognize my beauty and uniqueness. Okay, let's take a deep breath. And then feeling is more important than speaking. Feeling is more important than seeing, even. It's how you feel that will change your life. And with affirmations, you must learn how to feel what you're affirming. So I'll take a deep breath, if you will, and hold it for a second. And then as you release that breath, say, I choose to recognize my beauty and uniqueness. I choose to recognize my beauty and uniqueness. I choose to recognize my beauty and uniqueness till you can feel it right here. So it comes from head to heart, and you feel beautiful and you feel unique, and you can go out into your day and behave as somebody that is beautiful and unique with something really, really great to offer to the world.
And so it is. And wherever you are, if you feel comfortable saying these affirmations along with us out loud, please do so. You know, if you're in Starbucks, maybe not the best, but they could probably use it too. So feel free to say them out loud.
Support. Okay. It is so important to support yourself. And I want you to stop and think for 1 second. How many people are you supporting? Go through that list in your head. How many people are you supporting, from parents to children, to bosses, to coworkers, to neighbors, to community? Did you think of yourself? Did your own self go through there? And if you're not supporting yourself, how are you even possibly supporting others? And I've talked about this with some other people, and they're like, well, I don't have time to support myself. I'm so busy supporting everybody else. I don't have time for that. And that's a really negative way of looking at trying to make time for yourself. It's so easy to say, well, I just can't. I can't do that. And I can think of one person in my life in particular who says that all the time. And he really goes down that path of not having any time. But I would challenge everybody to say, you are going to be so much better at supporting the people in your life if you take 5 minutes, 5 minutes to listen to a book on tape, whatever it is that helps you to get out of your brain. Listen to that, whether it's, self-development, or it's fiction, or it's a biography, whatever. Take 10 minutes and take a hot bath. Go for a walk around the corner. Call a friend and say, I need help. Call a therapist and say, I need help. And if you tell yourself you can't afford it, that will be true. If you tell yourself there will be a way, sometimes you can find somebody who is willing to barter with you. You can find somebody who will do a half an hour instead of an hour. There are options out there for all of us. All we have to do is say, I need help. I need help, and I'm going to support myself by picking up the phone and calling, even if the person I'm calling is right here in my head. We are capable of asking for support, you guys. And sometimes the people around us, they think we're being so strong, and we can get really caught up in that idea that nobody notices and nobody sees me and how bad I need it. That's because we didn't say anything. They can't read our minds. We're not mind readers, not yet. Who knows what's coming, but not yet. You've got to open up and say, help. Help me. Okay, here's our affirmation for that. Today, I choose to value my well-being, and I gratefully welcome the support that surrounds me. And I really love this picture. Look at these two little dogs just snuggled up together, surrounded by a heart. But the whole world is available to us like that if we just ask. Okay, big breath in, release everything out, and say to yourself, today, I choose to value my well-being, and I gratefully welcome the support that surrounds me. I gratefully welcome that support, and it is everywhere.
Absolutely. And the next one is be loving to your negatives. And what this means is, again, we're back to judgment, we're back to criticism again, but we all have habits that we'd like to change, things that we don't like about ourselves, behavior patterns or habits or whatever it is, ways of reacting to things. So you want to be loving to those negatives, because the key to change is to love them. And the key to change is not criticizing. And I had one very dramatic story with a client, well, probably the most dramatic one that I've experienced, but many, many that did many changes and positive changes with just becoming more loving with their negatives. This particular woman had found out about Louise's work and contacted me, and her presenting issue was that she was bulimic. Now, she was eating too much and throwing up more than once a day, most of the time. She had been to Overeaters Anonymous, that helped for a while. She had been to a therapist, that helped for a while, but she was really desperate to get rid of this problem. And at the first session, when I said to her, okay, what we're going to do is you just need to start loving yourself and loving yourself while you're throwing up over the toilet bowl. Well, she looked at me like I was absolutely nuts and said, you're paying me for this, or I'm paying for you for this. And yes, so that's something that we worked on. And there were other issues. She had some things going on at work, and she had a boyfriend, and she was dealing with some, challenges with him, etc. But one day, about 3 months after we'd been working together, she came in just happy, 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 just glowing. And I said, wow, what is going on? You look so good today and so happy. And she said, I finally got it. She said it went from my head to my heart. And I just said, I love you, while I was throwing up. And I haven't done it since. Haven't done it since. And she never did again. So it was an example of how loving yourself brings you to that point. Now, in one way, it was very instantaneous like that, because she was right there that day. However, we'd been working together for several months on that and other things, but she really got to the point where she loved herself. Now, it doesn't mean that you might not choose to see a therapist, to go into treatment for something, especially for things like drug abuse and alcohol, overuse and things like that. But begin to love yourself and begin to just welcome the resources that are available to you. And Rick and I have worked with another woman on a whole wonderful project for teens, and she tells a great story herself about how she was an alcoholic and at the bottom, and she looked in the mirror and said to herself, I need to change and I need to love myself. And almost immediately the resources showed up for her to make that instantaneous or make that change. And now she is doing amazing work with teens all over the country. So as you love your negatives, things change, you change, and your ability to be out there and help others in the world just magnifies. So let's do an affirmation for that. I easily create, again, there's that word easily. I easily create new and loving patterns for myself to meet my needs. As Louise said, whatever the issue was, the negative was, it was designed because you needed it to meet some need. Now you can change that. So again, a nice deep breath. I easily create new and loving patterns for myself to meet my needs. And so it is.
So it is.
And when you begin to love yourself, you will automatically begin to take care of your body. Now, from a spiritual sense, I'm not my body. You're not your body. And that is true. You are far more than your body. And the more you realize that, the lighter you get, both in spirit and mind and physically. So when you learn to love yourself, you will find it easy to take care of your body, to eat the proper foods that nourish you, and to get exercise as you need it, what works best for you. And think of somebody that you love dearly, your child. Now, you will do everything you can to take care of that child's body, to make sure that the child doesn't get sick, make sure that the child is being fed properly and cared properly and loved and held and hugged and all the things that children need to grow into strong, well-balanced people. You, my friends, are your own child. You are the mom or dad to the child within, as we say. So as you do that, you are doing overall care for your inner child, nurturing and nourishing that part of you to grow and be stronger, healthier, and happier in every way. So, an affirmation to help you with that is, I lovingly nourish my body with healthy foods and engage in exercise that is whoop, 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 fun. Turn on the music, make it loud, bounce around the room, dance and sing with joy, and say, I lovingly nourish my body with healthy foods and engage in exercise that is fun, and have a ball doing it.
And I'll just share with you that Louise, in her later life, took up ballroom dancing as part of her fun and exercise, but she also did Pilates for many years. Those were her two favorite things, Pilates and ballroom dancing. Sounds fun.
Okay, everybody. We're going to talk about mirror work, and we're going to talk about making the mirror your friend. Right here, I have my little heart mirror, and I can look at myself and I can make some choices. I can say, ooh, did I choose the right glasses for this webinar? Okay, how are my bangs? Are they looking okay? I could choose that. And quite frankly, I'm probably going to do that anyways, but why? Why? When we would not say something mean to somebody else, do we pass a mirror and say something bad to ourselves? When we can actually choose to say, you know what? You look great today. You look amazing. I am so excited for you to go and do this webinar. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for your day. You are going to have a great day today. It doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to be awkward. Shouldn't it be the other way around, that it's weird and awkward for us to say nasty things to ourselves? Every time we walk past a mirror, we have an opportunity to say, oh my God, I love you today. I really love you. You're amazing. And I'm so grateful that you and I are taking this time to take care of ourselves. We can do it, and it will make a difference in your life if you start to see your reflection and see a loving, human, amazing, wonderful human being, which is what you are. And you can choose to see that instead of saying the nasty, negative things that so often go through our heads.
I want
Okay.
to interject something here.
Yes,
Look at
please.
that photo there of this young lady looking in the mirror. She is absolutely enthralled with herself. She's not pulling anything back. She looks in there and say, oh my God, I love you. You're so beautiful. And I just am just beside myself with the love I have for you. And she's got the enthusiasm is all over her. And it's the emotion you put into something like mirror work and affirmations and what have you that really make them come alive. So, excuse me, Christy, I just wanted to point that out. It's a
Oh,
beautiful picture.
please, no. I'm glad you did because she looked amazing. And that's exactly what we can choose to do. We really can. And once you start choosing to do that, it really does change your life. Like I said, I started working with this about, 15 years ago and started applying this methodology. And I can't even remember what it was like to pass a mirror and hate on myself, but I know I used to do it. And now a lot of times I can pass a mirror and it's just neutral because, I'm just walking by. But when I do stop and see myself, I go, oh God, what a great day. We look beautiful. I look beautiful. You look beautiful. So no, it's really good that we talk about mirror work because there are mirrors everywhere, and especially with the whole selfie world. Okay, affirmation, you guys. All right, big deep breaths in, let out. Oh, all that negative energy around the mirror. We love the mirror. I am committed to fostering self-love, understanding, and acceptance as I gaze into the mirror, recognizing the incredible potential that resides within me. I am committed to fostering self-love, understanding, and acceptance as I gaze into the mirror, recognizing the incredible potential that resides within me. And so
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you, Christy. And for some, if it's too hard to start out saying right away, I love you in the mirror, say I'm willing to love you. That makes it a little softer, a little easier when you're just getting started. Because after you're doing that a little while, you will soon get to, I love myself. Absolutely.
And while you're doing all of this, have fun. My fundamental belief is if it ain't fun, don't do it. So when you come across something that appears like it's not going to be fun or isn't fun, you just reframe it like this young fellow has done. And he is having fun there with leaves falling around, his heart-shaped glasses, grinning and smiling, and probably rolling around the grass there in a few minutes. So you can have fun doing any of these practices. You can have fun doing any of your affirmations. You can laugh, you can giggle, you can dance and sing and have fun. Very important. And your information and affirmation. I joyfully embrace each moment with laughter and happiness. Oh, yes. I joyfully embrace each moment with laughter and happiness. I am happy. I am joyful. I am laughing. I am gay. I am happy, 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 happy. Have fun.
Thank you. And I did forget to mention that we will be answering questions. So Christy's going to be looking at the chat. If you want to put a question in the chat, we'll be happy to answer those as soon as we're done with the last point of philosophy here that we're talking about with the ways to love yourself and be able to meet your needs too. So the final one, 12, love yourself and do it now. Don't put qualifications on it about, oh, I need to lose the weight, or I need to get the better job, or I need to find my soulmate, or I need to da, all the things again, those things in your mind that say, oh, I need to wait. I can't do it now. And what Louise says is love yourself and do it now. It's okay. When I first started this work, more than 15 years ago, as Christy has, but a number of years ago, and even before I met Louise, but when I started this work, much of this information wasn't very well known. You'd go into a bookstore and when Louise's book was published, it was back in the corner in this little dark area over there with about 10 other self-help books. And now there's huge self-help sections, which is wonderful. But loving yourself then was not a very popular idea. People thought it was about being selfish or, narcissistic and things like that. But now it's a much more common idea that really loving yourself, and again, not from that ego place, but from that knowing that you are an incredible human being here on this planet, and you have a special role, a unique place to be, and a unique role to serve with other people. So when you get to that bottom line of loving yourself, all of that starts to open up. So the affirmation here is, I enthusiastically choose to love myself now, knowing I deserve love. I deserve to love myself. Okay, deep breath. And again, say it out loud along with me if you can and feel comfortable where you are. I enthusiastically choose to love myself now,
Oh,
knowing I deserve love. And as Louise says, love is the great miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. And it truly does. It transforms how you feel about yourself and thus how you interact with others and how they feel about you. So it is absolutely amazing. I'm going to stop the share now and go back to our full screen and just answer any questions that have come up. And Christy, can you share any
Patricia, we have a great question
questions?
here.
Okay.
So really, it's one we get a lot. How often do you say the affirmations? Is it daily, weekly, or do you say them and forget it and trust that the universe is sending it to you? How do you manage that?
Thank you. I love affirmations. They absolutely changed my life. And I feel like that's one of my special gifts is to be able to help people with affirmations. And the truth is, you could say it just once with absolute 100% feeling and belief, and that would be it. But for ourselves, we are training ourselves with the new beliefs. And so I'd say with the affirmations, it's great to do them in the morning and in the evening, but to be aware throughout the day when you have negative thoughts that you want to change. Okay. And the way that I actually found my affirmations as I was beginning to practice them most effective is that I would meditate. And I started a meditation practice before I knew any of this because I was a very anxious person initially in my life and really found that meditation just really made huge difference for me. But I like to do my meditation, and then at the end of that, when I'm really in that nice, deep, wonderful space, do my affirmations from that place. Now, it's great to say your affirmations, write your affirmations, sing your affirmations, dance your affirmations. All of those things really bring them into being. And then one very important point is if you're doing affirmations about some future thing, like when we're doing our loving yourself ones, it's like right now. I love myself. I'm willing to love myself right now. But we also want to do affirmations about manifesting a soulmate, for example, or a wonderful person to come into our business and do all this wonderful admin work that keeps us sane and things like that. So when you're doing that, you want to let go of your timeline as well. So in other words, when you're saying the affirmation, you want to do it and let it go. You don't want to say the affirmation, okay, when is it going to happen? Okay, because that's bringing anxiety into it. It's really about trusting the process of things coming about and doing the affirmations whenever you feel comfortable. So there's no hard and fast rule that you have to do the morning, noon, and night, but you want to be aware of those thoughts and also to bring those affirmations into your heart.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna, can I
Sure.
add to that a little bit?
Sure.
My, and I think because you've got to figure out what works for you.
Mhm.
And my thing is, I often feel like I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I will worry about that weight that I'm carrying. And the way I use affirmations to this day, anytime I'm feeling that weight and I start to worry and get that worry coming down on top of me, how am I going to manage all of this weight? I use the affirmation to stop the worry in its track, whatever the worry is, whether it's about money, whether it's about weight, whether it's about how something is going to work out. I know that I have affirmations there and I have visualizations that help me through it. There was a time where we were looking for a house and it seemed like everybody was looking for a house at the exact same time. And we kept putting in an offer that was good and we kept getting denied.
Mhm.
And it was really hard. And I was my husband was working, my son was little, and it felt like it was all up to me to find this perfect house. And I finally just let it go. Went on vacation, let it go, put out to the universe that the house would work out. And we have been in our house now for almost 14 years. And, it's just a matter, I think, of knowing when it works for you and using it to support you.
be lighthearted about them as well. Don't get
Yeah.
too focused on so serious about these affirmations. I'm going to say this just right to make it happen. There's an interesting thing, and it's absolutely true. Affirmations cannot and will not work in the time-space dimension. You put an affirmation in a time-space dimension, it becomes a goal because it has to deal with all the restrictions that live in time-space. And that is, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. There are laws against that. There are natural laws against that. And you will be betraying somebody if you do this or that. And all of these things that limit us. And the worst limitations we get are the strongest resistance limitations we get are the ones that we impose upon ourselves through our negative mindset that has been ingrained in us over the years, some of which we were even born with. So that's the biggest restriction. So you affirm that I am divinely guided to the exact home that me and my family are going to live in, be joyful in, and that home is full of fine furnishings and beautiful art, love and laughter, friends and family, and we have a wonderful home, a wonderful neighborhood, and I can feel this. I can feel myself in this new home. I can feel it. Now, I said earlier, feeling is important. So when you get to a place where you can not just see it as a two-dimensional image, but where you can feel it. This is my home. And I feel myself in this home. And I feel my family around me laughing and having fun. And I feel that we have plenty to support this home and this environment. I know this to be the fact. Even if you're in a little apartment someplace that you don't like, you feel the new home. Patricia and I are extremely successful because we practice Louise Hay's methods deeply and completely, and we know how to do them. So when you feel, and you get to where you feel it, it rises out of time space. It's called like a bubble. And it comes up, rises up like the moon, and it sits in the ethers out there, shining away. This is my beautiful home and furniture and the dog and the cat and all of it. And everybody's happy and fun. And here it sits, your vision, your feeling. Now, the law of attraction takes over. And this beautiful, glowing feeling that you have put in the stratosphere will draw to it what it needs to come into manifestation into the physical world. It is the law of attraction at work. And so somebody out there has a home that they want to sell. They're tired of it. They want to move on or whatever. They want to sell a house. They see your vision. They snap onto it. Like Abraham Hicks always talking about shooting up rockets of desire. Well, they got a rocket of desire to sell their home. And you've got a rocket of desire to have a beautiful home. And the two of them come together. They settle back down into the real world, or what we see as the real world, the physical world, and then you come together and you work a deal, and then you are suddenly in your new home with your family and all the joy of living there. That is how it works. Put your life into it, build it, make it big enough to glow.
Yeah, and the universe has a sense of humor about this too. When we try to control
Definitely.
it has a sense of humor. When I was first working for you guys, and I was like, I'm gonna make this work. I had taken my son to an amusement park where we were getting to go in late because we were members, and we had sat in line for ages. And by the time we got parked, I had to use the restroom so bad. I like grabbed him out, threw him in the stroller, went running out, and I forgot my wallet. And all he wanted was a churro. We'd already had dinner or something. All he wanted was a churro, and it was $4.25. And I had $4 in cash on me. And I walked around that amusement park the whole time affirming for a quarter. I was going to find that quarter and get him a churro. And I was like, okay, I'm in it. I'm doing the work. A quarter. I see a quarter. We get to the very last thing we were going to go see. And I'm like, dude, I don't have a quarter. We can do popcorn, and then we can share the popcorn. And that was $3.75. So I paid for the popcorn, and guess what I had? A quarter. That is the universe with a sense of humor. It wasn't up to me how that quarter came about. And I forgot to say I wanted a churro because what we really wanted was a churro, not a quarter. So you've
So,
got to let the universe have its moment.
well, one thing Louise always said as well was how you start your day is how you live your day.
Mm.
And so beginning your day in a positive way is really important. And Rick and I have the Hay House I Can Do It calendar right by our coffee. So we've already had our meditations in the morning, but it's right by our coffee. We have some angel cards that are there. And also, I love Louise's Power Thought cards and using those, especially if you've got something going on and you want to really get some insight about what do I need to do here. You can choose a card, and often it will give you a wonderful message. And today I was meditating on, okay, what card do I want to share with the group on the webinar? And I just went in blind and picked it, and it is I love life. And it says on the back, it is my birthright to live fully and freely. I give to life exactly what I want life to give to me. I am glad to be alive. I love life. So I love life is a wonderful card for today. And you can be saying that affirmation as well. And there are others in here, but think of your own rituals. How would you like to start your day? Whether it's with a meditation or whether it's with a guided meditation, there are lots of wonderful ones on the internet. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Heal Your Life. So you just go in youtube.com/heal your life. We have meditations on there. We have Louise's audios on there and other words that we've done about mirror work and things like that on there. So we'd really encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and just get some more nourishment for your soul and your heart and your mind as you're going along on this journey.
Yeah,
So just
Patricia's got two great meditations on there, sunrise and sunset,
thank you.
and they're fantastic for starting your day and ending your day.
Okay. And what other question or do we have, Christy? There's a Q&A down there.
So one of the other questions is, do we just go around being happy all the time?
Well, that's ideal if you're enlightened. But the truth is we're human beings with emotional selves and we come into challenges and things like that. But you had a great affirmation earlier, Christy, about just dealing with challenges as they come along and trusting that things are going to work out. So it doesn't mean being Pollyanna and artificially happy all the time, that you want to be honest with your feelings. But as we say in the training and in the work, not to get stuck in them, because it's when you get stuck in them and you're thinking, oh, there's no way to deal with this, or how am I going to work on this? There's no way out, blah, blah, blah. That's when you're shutting down the creativity and what the universe can offer you in terms of solutions. So no, you don't go around just being happy all the time, but you remind yourself in the morning that you have a choice about how this day is going to be. And starting your day with some of these positive things would be really good. But the other thing we haven't talked about as much today is gratitude.
Mm.
How grateful are you for so much that is wonderful in your life? And again, there's now scientific evidence. There's a new book by Jim Quick that's wonderful called Limitless, and he talks about gratitude and how that actually, produces these positive chemicals in your brain that we like to talk about, serotonin and dopamine, etc. And so gratitude is a wonderful way to remind yourself of what is good in your life. And again, it doesn't mean like waving away things and pretending like things aren't, are great if you need to solve some issues. It's being honest with yourself, but also recognizing that there's so much in your life, in all of our lives, that's so wonderful. And you want to be grateful for all those things, but specifically to be saying that, I am grateful, and all that you're grateful for.
Right. Continual flow of happiness is utterly unsustainable. It will wear you out. It eats up too much energy, and pretty soon you're just going to be going to bed tired. But a better way to look at that, I believe, is to be in acceptance of the way things are. You can, that's what the common, often heard phrase these days is, it is what it is. Now, what that means is, it is what it is, So I'm going to let it be the way it is and not struggle against it. Now, if you can get to a place where you're not struggling against what is, then you can be content. You can be fine, and you can know that this too shall pass, and you can go around. Now, and another truth is that this stuff, you can't just flip a switch in your mind somewhere and switch from loving yourself from loathing yourself to loving yourself, from being angry at yourself to being joyful with yourself. There are no switches that allow you to do that. It's a process of gradually working with these principles. And I would suggest that if you're having some issues like that and you haven't done it yet, first thing to do is go get the book You Can Heal Your Life and then read through it and then work with it. Develop a relationship with it. Do what it says to do, and you will begin to unhinge all of the old negative beliefs that are not true. They're simply not true. They were just other people's erroneous ideas about who you are, which is really erroneous ideas about who they are, which they projected upon you over and over and over again till you bought into it. You can undo that, and you can start to undo that with You Can Heal Your Life, and you can further begin to undo that by attending a 2-day Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workshop, or ultimately coming to a training that we are offering. You got to work with these things, dive into it, and you can be a different person in a very short time.
I think I've got another question. Okay, we already answered that one. Great. I was just checking on that. So I do want to say, Rick was brought up, going to a workshop. So I do want to do one last screen share before we end here. And let's see, we've got this one. And let me go to the next one. Okay, so if you want to go deeper with this work, you can go to scheduled workshops. You find our trained practitioners at healyourlifeworkshops.com. We've got a number of them scheduled right now. The 2-day that Rick was mentioning, that is Louise's signature workshop. And we have kept that one in person because it is so in-depth emotionally that you really need to do it with a group of people. And it is phenomenal. And I know there's a few of those that are being scheduled and have been right now. And then if Louise's work has really changed your life and you're being, using the techniques, etc., and seeing positive changes, we would certainly welcome you as coming to our training as a Heal Your Life workshop leader and life coach. And this year we're offering this really unique hybrid program where we do part of it online with Zoom sessions just like these, and they're meetings rather than webinars. And also then a 10-day in-person program that combines the workshop leader and the coach training. And one of the ways that our program is unique, besides this combination of hybrid, is that we found that so many coaches are just struggling to gain clients. And the way I built my business full time was with the combination of workshops and coaching. And so the workshops are a wonderful way to add a modality to what you're doing if you're already an alternate, practitioner. And if not, and you want to be a life coach, then you've got the additional skills and practices and offerings so that you can bring in people to get to know you at a lower cost in time and money, and then be interested in coaching. So we really encourage you to have those two resources, Heal Your Life workshops. And then our training is healyourlifetraining.com/San-Diego. It's going to be in beautiful San Diego.
And
So I
I
want
just
to
want
say
to
that
oh,
what you
sorry.
teach, you learn. And when you come and you learn these principles, either in a 2-day workshop, and you just go out into the world, and you will be different when you finish a 2-day workshop. You will not be the same person you were when you arrived, because it has an amazing process that walks you right through to a sense of unity with the rest of the people in the group. And you will begin to understand that you are not the only person in the world with all these woes and all these injuries and all of these negative belief systems. Oh, by the way, the person across the circle from you may be a doctor or a professor, but you'll find out that they have the same problems that you have. And together you work on it and you clear each other's problems. It's a natural process. It's not forced. It just rolls along easily. By the end of the 2 days, you will be a very different person. And then you will have learned something through that, which you will go back into the world and share with your family, your fellow workers, your community, your church, your whatever you have. And you'll go into that with a whole new attitude. And if you do the coaching and workshop leader training, that is reinforced many times over. By the time you leave that, you go away from that very prepared to bring yourself to the world and say, I have arrived. I am here in my own skin and in my own mind and in my own body. And I got something to say and I'm going to say it. And so you do that. And when you do that, you are breathing life into this bubble that's rising up out of the restrictions of time, space, and drawing unto it what it needs to be manifest in reality. I love you all, and I see you all being extremely successful in your lives, whatever you decide to do.
Christy.
And I want to say that I have led the 2-day. I recently led it about 3 weeks ago. And whether you're considering maybe taking one or going to our workshops website and taking one of our other workshops from a workshop leader, it's amazingly transformational and it's really accessible. I had participants who were very well versed in Louise Hay and very well versed in this methodology and work. And I had participants who had not done anything like this before in their lives. And everybody came together, the healing, the growth, the laughter, the tears, the hugs, all of it was amazing and phenomenal. And also then from the standpoint of me who was leading it, of having the tools and the knowledge that were learned at the training, that and the script that we get, so I could just sit there and impart my knowledge, but not have to worry about, oh God, did I get this part right? Or did I get that part right? I had a script that I just easily used, and that kept me on track, and that kept everything moving and flowing. And it felt professional and beautiful and easy. And I cannot say enough about how grateful I was to be able to do that and feel confident and secure in being able to lead people, whether I'm coaching, whether I'm leading workshops. And the 2-day is just a whole nother world. It's amazing. But all of our workshops are really great.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us today on the webinar. Please feel free to, send any questions afterwards. And also, some of you already know that I wrote a book called Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen, and I also have a journal that's a yearly journal. So if you are someone listening and you don't have that journal, I would be happy to send it to you. Just email patricia@heartinspired.com. Let us know or let me know that you were on the webinar or listen to it later with the recording, and I'm happy to send you the journal. And that gives you lots of exercises for this year to be even more successful and to also love yourself more. So thank you for joining us. We love you, and we look forward to working with you and meeting with you in the future.
Namaste.
Bye-bye. Namaste.